Hi there, I'm Linda Kay Gifford. Let me get the screen where I'm in it. Hello, my hair is wet, irrelevant. I'm Linda Kay Gifford, and I am the survivor of 7 years of childhood sexual abuse. I am also a life coach, a speaker, a singer, songwriter. I own feelgoodfairtrade.com. I founded and direct the Sweet Survivor Rescue Fund, a new fund to provide rescue transportation to victims of trafficking and abuse. And I just got a subscription launched on my store, which we just hit our 4th-year anniversary online. It's feelgoodfairtrade.com. We used to be Seasonal Fair, and or I used to run Seasonal Fair, I should say. And when that closed at the beginning of the pandemic due to investor shortages of cash, I reopened the same type of business, only it's mine now, and it's feelgoodfairtrade.com. We support women artisans and communities, families that also include men, in over 20 countries. We warehouse here in the States, but that's not what this is about. I should say we deliver in 2 to 5 days, 3 to 6 in the USA, a couple weeks outside of the USA on average, 1 to 2 weeks outside the USA. So do support us because the Sweet Survivor Rescue Fund is funded from GoFundMe pages, from Facebook fundraiser page, from the new subscription, and also from merchandise that is now available. So both sweetsurvivor.com and feelgoodfairtrade.com go to the same place for a while so that I can introduce Sweet Survivor. Then I'm moving it onto its own storefront. So I don't have the custom merch up yet, but we're working on that. We had some last minute logo changes. Like my kids hated the one I made, even though I really liked it. Said it looked like a kid's book, which it does. So I'm like, well, there's nothing wrong with that. But we also have 2 more logos that are just about in the can. So that'll be up in a matter of a couple of days. The other thing is, if you are interested, if you want to talk one-on-one or you want to participate in a Zoom group meeting, I have an appointment calendar up now for the one-on-one meetings, and I should have the Zoom appointment calendar set up by like midnight tonight. So by the time anybody sees this, it's what I will do when I get off of here, is finish setting that up. But I didn't want to run later. I say we're on at 4, but I like to run premieres that kind of set up what we're talking about, and that's what I did today. And today we're going to get into grooming, what it is, what it's not, and basically how it happens. It happens in many different ways, but what grooming is, how it happens, and more importantly, the lifelong consequences of it. I'm trying to convince you to stop doing it. To do that, I first need to convince you that you are doing it, even if you have the best of intentions. You may not be. If you aren't, great, awesome, you're my people. But even most women are sabotaging ourselves. We are, and it needs to stop. Because some of us, like myself, end up suffering the consequences. When I think of all the years I spent hating myself and feeling shameful and guilty and dirty and ruined, and then hating my abuser and wanting to planning, not planning like duct tape and twist ties in the trunk planning, but that emotional, someday I'm going to kill him. Someday I'm going to kill him. I write about this in my book, and the excerpts are no longer pinned at the top of my Facebook page, but I'm going to do that. I'm going to be adding them onto the sweetsurvivor.com site, which is also going to be hosting my book and an e-guide. I'm close to publishing the e-guide, How to Get From Trigger to Happy. And I'm pretty excited about that because it seems to be helping people a lot. So today we're going to talk about spades. Spade is the acronym. Spade or spades, I haven't decided yet, honestly. It's the acronym for my easy trigger guide. But no, really, if you have CPTSD, And what the C is, for the uninitiated, is complex. CPTSD sufferers, it's complex because it was long-term, because it happened repeatedly over a period of time. And that gets particularly tricky if we're talking about children like myself, because the science now shows that we literally did not grow as many connecting pathways between the part of the brain that experiences trauma, or anything for that matter, but especially trauma, and the part of the brain that stores it. So learning that just in the last few months, that blows my mind. That gives me a whole lot of food for thought. It's like, you're telling me that because my brain was still growing and developing, though myself and others who were, either sexually assaulted, like I was repeatedly for years, or victims of abuse and neglect of any kind, really, that we internalize these things. And I've got to find a way to explain to you, unless you're one of us. And then I just want you to know that you are not alone. And that is the biggest thing for me. I really thought it was only me. I didn't know there could be so many vile, horrible, dirty little girls out there until I found out that there weren't any. We were all victims. So how does it happen? How do we let it happen? Well, we perpetuate the paradoxes. We perpetuate the paradoxes so much that we don't even realize we do it. I had talked a while back, and I mentioned this in the premiere of a live stream from March of this year that I played right before I came on live, because it's a good prep. If you didn't watch it, you can go back in there more to hear more about how I feel about this. But basically, I was talking about the Cuomo thing and the whole, it's like, well, he made people feel uncomfortable, but there was no actual touching or whatever. What are the levels? Where do we draw the lines? Where do we just start firing people, and where do we decide to educate them? And I'm just saying that as a realist, I feel that if we just persecute everyone that ever acted in a way that we accepted all this time without complaint, even though there were reasons for our acceptance, reasons that are real and valid, reasons of fear, reasons of inequality, those reasons are all still valid. I'm not invalidating that. Just saying the real picture is, for whatever reason, many, many women in our and other societies back men up in holding us down, right? They say there's a glass ceiling. Well, you know what? As much as some of us are trying to break through it, other women are holding it up. They are the foundation of the glass ceiling. I never thought of that. I'm going to write that down. Foundation, women, foundation. I'm going to use a woman symbol to write faster. Foundation of glass ceiling, because we hold ourselves back. And we also open up ourselves and our children and everyone we know to abuse when we perpetuate paradoxes in society that, I've said it before, I'm going to say it again. The whole want a lady in the bedroom, and a lady on the street and a whore in the bedroom. Just the idea that to be really good, not just good, but really good, it needs to be whorish. How does that factor in when we put down, and the same men that want the whore in the bed? And look in my comments. A guy just said this. I just asked that question in a recent live stream, which is why we're bringing it up again. Butch, is it, or Buster? Buster, who likes my breasts, also very intellectual observation at a time when we're trying to change things. So Buster's a troll. But when I said, do you want a lady on the street or a whore in the bedroom? Pick one, because it's very confusing. And he's like, well, I want a lady on the street and a whore in the bedroom. I'm like, oh, that is so funny. It's so funny that you operate on the lack of intellect level, Buster, that you didn't get the whole irony of the situation and the joke. So I'm not here to explain it to you because I don't think you're evolved enough to understand it. I'm just explaining it to the rest of you to understand the kind of crap me and you and everyone deals with all the freaking time. And it's just like, I have amazing sex with my partner. Sorry to be so straight up, but that's kind of what I do here. And you know what? I don't ever have to pretend to be a whore for him to think that our sex is good, I think. Or he's pretending. I don't know. But I'm pretty sure that I can be Linda Kay Gifford and have any kind of sex I want to and still not get associated with a whore in order for him to feel pleasure. And so what is it with you, Buster? I ask you people and you ladies who adopt this adage and think it's cute and funny. And there was a time that even I would have said something, not probably said it, but where I didn't think anything of it if someone said something like that, I just thought, oh, well, what they mean by whore in the bedroom is really good sex. And it's like, take that apart and think about that. Is that gross? Is that sick and wrong? Really good sex needs to involve a whore. Come on, where are we going with this? Well, look at the clothing. Look at what we do to our children. So, back to the top. Here's where I'm going to bring in grooming and what grooming is and how it's not just the people. I can't just blame the guy that groomed and ultimately repeatedly assaulted me for years. I still blame him, don't get me wrong, but I can't solely blame him for being in a society that condones that sort of thing, that regularly sexualizes little girls. Can I blame him for that? I can blame him for not having the wherewithal to keep it in his fantasies and out of my pants. But so again, not condoning, but I'm telling you, it happens because we ourselves, as women, also accept these adages and societal norms, these man patriarchal led innuendos. We go along with it. And the most conservative amongst us seem hell-bent. I didn't choose that word on purpose, but it's appropriate. The most conservative and evangelical amongst us seem hell-bent on pleasing man at any personal cost, But it's kind of amazing, too. They also have the highest rate of, cheating and stuff. And because you have to be forgiven. You can do anything wrong. And the one who doesn't forgive is the bad guy in that relationship. So if you're in a relationship where you're the bad guy because you don't forgive the sinner, because everyone's a sinner, get out of it. You're probably hooked up with a narcissist. That's something else we talked about quite a bit last week. And we will always will, because getting hooked up with narcissists, I have found, is intrinsically bound to being an abuse survivor, an assault survivor, a long-term assault survivor. When you have denigrated yourself for so long, you don't look for, but you accept a person who needs you intensely. And they do. Just not only you. They need everybody intensely. So they suck you in and make you think you're the one and only. And the next one and only they're with, they're going to do the same thing with. And sometimes there's several of them at once. And that's not just on a sexual level, but definitely there too. Narcissists will cheat. It's just, it's a thing. I won't get too far into that, but those of us who were groomed also have a tendency to be needed. So please avoid that. And if you want to talk more about it, comment. We can talk about it. We can do it in a Zoom group meeting. That appointment calendar will be up soon. We're going to do the first Zoom meetings. It's like all of them. It's a nominal. I just have to pay for the software crap, like $10. I haven't set it up, but that's all. Because this is not about making money. Although I really, really encourage you to start a subscription with the Sweet Survivor Rescue Fund. Now available at feelgoodfairtrade.com. SweetSurvivor.com is also temporarily directed to that same site as we introduce it on our 4-year-old store. And then we'll move it on to its own store pretty soon. So how grooming happens is little by little. And I get this so much, and I have to address it again. Probably always will. It's always, why didn't you tell? Why didn't you tell? And it is such an important question because it's the judgment. This is where people judge. This is where it's like, well, you could have done this. And it's like, I know someone who was raped at 12. They were violently raped by a near stranger. It ended up in the hospital and with legal charges. That's a whole different animal.
Go to Walmart.
Thank you, hon. That's my son. That's a whole different animal. When someone starts diddling around in your pants and telling you to do so in theirs at a very young age, a person that you basically trust and even like, you don't understand any of that. When you are at the level of sexual awareness that you know that down there, and you might, nowadays kids would know it's a vagina. I don't even know how old I was before I knew what that, junior high had a name, Oh. It's very hard to discern what is right and wrong, but you get the feeling that this is bad and wrong, but it's immediately accompanied by guilt and shame. And so what grooming does is it ends up giving you lifelong consequences of associating pleasurable sexual feelings with guilt and shame and wanting to run away from it. And this is something that I just finally figured out. I started therapy 20 years ago. Took a big, long break to raise my children. And now I go for an hour every week, although I missed the last 2 weeks because I've just been really busy with the Sweet Survivor Rescue Fund launch. More complicated than I thought it would be. But it's like, gotta be perfect. And so, anyway, check that out. So the lifelong consequences are such that we have to deal with body memory. And body memory, no matter how much you learn, is really hard to manage because it happens before you think. So here's the deal. We manage it after the fact. It's not ideal, but it's what you got. It's what I've got. And it's what I have to share with you. So take it or leave it. It's a good CPTSD management tool, and the one I'm going to teach you today, which is, I've talked about the rabbit hole, same concept essentially. There's that dark, dark place, and that dark place, as much as we say we don't like it, it feels comfortable. It feels good to lose control. It feels good to get drunk or drugged or have stupid sex or whatever you do. Cry, just lose yourself to where you aren't thinking anymore, because what hurts is thinking about it. So we push it down and we repress it and we stuff it inside ourselves. We try not to think about it, and then it starts to rear its ugly head again, so we bash it down. Pills, drugs, alcohol, sex, whatever you're running is. And how's that working for you? It didn't work very well for me. But what did work for me, and it was so simple that I want to fast track you to it, and that's just admit the truth. Admit it to yourself. And when you admit the truth to yourself, you need to remember spades. Say spades with me. The shame is not yours. Separate the past from the present. Ask for what you want. Don't wait to feel okay to be okay. Educate and advocate. And then don't forget the spirit is the S, the final S. You don't have to have the final S. It could be spade or spades. If you don't want to talk spirit, throw it out there. But I have a very, very firm opinion of what spirit is. And that is not the subject of today's live stream. And I'm not going to do it. That's more of a deeper dive Sunday school thing. And I will discuss that more on Sunday. Today, though, I want to wrap up. I just wanted to talk about grooming, what it is, and what I think it isn't. I'm not saying give men a pass. I'm saying we need to educate men as to what the expectations we have for them are, rather than just throwing them into the fire. Some of them need to be thrown into the fire. Bill Cosby, into the fire, you rapist pig. I'm not that nice. No, I'm not letting anybody off the hook. You know, the Harvey Weinsteins and all. No. I'm saying those who, especially older, middle-aged and old men that are cultured into this thinking that women want to hear that their boobs look nice today culture or whatever, and their wives laugh and think it's cute when they try to pick up waitresses half their age. That culture, bye-bye. Bye-bye. So we're not going to tolerate it. But look for the places where you can educate people. Instead of just taking it, and then exploding, it's time to take back your life and your dignity and your workplace. If there was ever a time to not fear men in the workplace, now's the time. So if someone's making you feel uncomfortable, say so. But judiciously, and first, maybe to them, maybe give them the chance to listen and change. So, hey, who would have thought I'd be giving men slack? But I do, because human beings are human beings, and we all have to learn and grow. We all do. So while I'm learning and growing, I'm going to give the men in the world and in my life the opportunity to learn and grow by talking to them, by using my words. Is that so hard? So we're going to dive deeper into the program, which is about to launch. Oh my God, I keep saying that, but it really is. The trigger management program is really about to launch. Notice I don't specify days anymore, just about to. But it's got to be right, not timely, right? So let's help some people. Please go. There's this new shop thing on the page. I'm still eliminating. Facebook still shows this marketplace thing I don't want on there, but they have the shop on there. It has to be there, so ignore that. Just look at the collections I've put on there. If you want to shop, go to the .com. Just link to the store, because my store filters out all the out-of-stock products. Facebook does not, except through a very complicated process, which I spent about 3 hours doing today, and I'm still not done. So for now, pardon that some out-of-stock products show there, but the collections do not have out-of-stock products unless they just went out of stock today. And I will check those. But they're really nice, and everything right now is going to build and support the Sweet Survivor Rescue Fund. So again, I'm Kay Gifford. I appreciate you being here very much. Thank you for taking the time out of your day. Please subscribe. Even if you're not going to come back, please help us get a URL. We need 100 subscribers for a custom URL and 1,000 subscribers to monetize, to raise money for the Sweet Survivor Rescue Fund and provide rescue transportation to people in crisis. So, thanks for your help. And if you want to talk more and you're a person that's interested in some trigger management lessons, I will be here tomorrow and Thursday. I'll be running previews at 4 of related live streams, and then I'll come on live like today. Bye-bye.